Introduction to Satan's story. When we think of Satan, what typically comes to mind is a terrifying image: red skin, large horns, fiery eyes, and goat-like legs. This fearsome figure, often depicted with a sinister grin and a weapon in hand, has permeated cultures and religions worldwide. From ancient civilizations to modern belief systems, Satan has always represented a force that stands in opposition to the divine. But is this image the whole truth? What lies beneath this terrifying exterior? In this video, we will embark on a journey to uncover the true origins of Satan. We'll go beyond the surface of modern interpretations and dive into the roots of this infamous figure, exploring his transformation over the centuries. From ancient myths to religious texts, Satan's identity has been shaped and reshaped by different cultures and spiritual movements. Is he truly a single entity, or does he represent something more abstract and universal in human consciousness? The word Satan itself has a rich and complex history, appearing in various religious texts with different meanings. In the Quran, for instance, the terms Satan and Iblis are often used interchangeably, even though they refer to distinct beings. This confusion has only deepened over time, affecting how people perceive the devil and his role in religious narratives. Are we being misled by these interpretations? Or is there more to uncover about this enigmatic figure? Throughout history, Satan has evolved from a mere adversary into a central symbol of evil and rebellion. Yet, the role he plays in different traditions is not as straightforward as we may think. In some instances, he represents human defiance, the struggle between free will and divine command. His story is one of rebellion. But does that rebellion always signify evil? By understanding Satan's transformation through the ages, we can begin to grasp the deeper meanings behind his presence in our collective mythology. This exploration into the origins of the devil will challenge what we know and perhaps force us to reconsider some deeply held beliefs. Is the story we've been told the whole truth? Or has history twisted these tales for specific purposes? Join us as we unravel the complex web of myth, religion, and culture that surrounds Satan, revealing hidden truths that have been obscured over millennia. The word Satan and its true meaning. The concept of Satan is far more complex than simply an enemy of humanity or God. In fact, the word Satan itself, when translated, means adversary or opponent. It doesn't inherently carry the weight of pure evil that it does today. In early religious texts, Satan wasn't even considered an individual being, but rather a symbol of opposition, often used to describe humans or groups who defied certain principles or laws. Over time, however, this adversary became personified, evolving into the feared devil we now recognize. In Islamic theology, the figures of Satan and Iblis appear frequently, though they serve different roles. Iblis is often depicted as the rebellious being who refused to bow to Adam, earning him eternal damnation. However, Satan, in some contexts, is not necessarily a being, but a concept, an abstract representation of rebellion against divine will. This has led to confusion among scholars and followers alike, with many interpreting these figures as one and the same, when in reality, they serve distinct purposes in theological narratives. Interestingly, in early Judaic texts, the word Satan was not used to describe a single entity either. It was a term used for those who opposed God's will or those who acted as adversaries. The angel Samuel, for instance, is portrayed in some stories as God's right-hand angel before he fell from grace. His descent into rebellion mirrors the later stories of Lucifer and Iblis, offering a glimpse into how the concept of a divine adversary was shaped over time. Satan, as a symbol, embodies more than just evil. he represents the human struggle with defiance and free will. In ancient texts, his role often reflects the tensions between obedience to divine authority and the desire to question and rebel. This conflict resonates deeply with human experiences, where figures like Satan offer a lens through which to explore the consequences of challenging higher powers. Is Satan a villain for rebelling, or does he represent something more universal about human nature? By tracing the meaning of Satan across various religious texts and interpretations, we can begin to see that this figure is less about one being and more about the idea of defiance and rebellion. Satan, in many ways, serves as a mirror to our own struggles with authority and morality, raising questions about the balance between obedience and the pursuit of knowledge and independence. It's this deeper symbolism that we will continue to explore throughout this video: the demonization of Satan. The image of Satan as the ultimate villain, the embodiment of all that is evil, was not always part of human belief systems. In early mythologies, like those of the Sumerians, beings similar to Satan existed, but they weren't seen as pure evil. These beings were chaotic forces, challenging the established order, but not necessarily out of malevolence. Over time, however, these figures were reshaped by evolving religious beliefs, particularly within Christianity, to become the feared and hated devil we know today. One of the most pivotal figures in this transformation is Iblis. In Islamic tradition, Iblis defies God's command to bow before Adam, a defiance that seals his fate as an outcast. Some scholars argue that Iblis's name is rooted in the Greek word diablos, meaning slanderer or accuser, further tying him to the concept of rebellion. Yet, Iblis's story isn't just one of evil. It's a story about pride, free will, and the consequences of disobedience. Similarly, the transformation of Lucifer, the fallen angel, into the ruler of hell is a largely Christian invention. Before his fall, Lucifer was considered a bearer of light, a symbol of wisdom and enlightenment. His rebellion against God led to his downfall, but the original story wasn't about pure evil. It was about questioning authority. This narrative shift from enlightened being to demonic ruler reflects Christianity's efforts to create a figure that represents absolute opposition to God. This transformation of rebellious figures into symbols of evil is not unique to Christianity. In Greek mythology, Prometheus defied Zeus by bringing fire, symbolizing knowledge and progress, to humanity. For this act of rebellion, he was punished with eternal torment. Like Lucifer, Prometheus's defiance wasn't out of malice, but out of a desire to help humanity grow. Both figures, though cast as rebels, embody the pursuit of knowledge and the desire to challenge the status quo. Across different mythologies and religious narratives, the figures who challenge divine authority are often demonized, becoming representations of chaos and evil. Yet their stories also reveal a deeper, more complex theme: the tension between progress and obedience, between enlightenment and control. Whether it's Iblis, Lucifer, or Prometheus, these figures remind us of the consequences of rebellion, but they also raise important questions about the nature of authority and the cost of knowledge. Lucifer and the Lightbringer myth. The story of Lucifer, often conflated with Satan, offers another fascinating layer to the evolution of the devil's image. The name Lucifer means Lightbringer or morning star, and in early texts, he was associated with enlightenment and wisdom. However, his story took a sharp turn when he was rebranded as a symbol of evil in later Christian tradition. What was once a symbol of light and knowledge became a cautionary tale about pride and rebellion. In Greek mythology, the story of Prometheus parallels that of Lucifer in many ways. Prometheus, too, was a light bringer. He stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, symbolizing the gift of knowledge and progress. For this act, he was punished by Zeus, much like Lucifer's fall from grace. Prometheus' story, however, is not one of evil, but of sacrifice. He defied the gods to empower humanity. The transformation of Lucifer into the ruler of hell reflects Christianity's broader theological shift, where defiance against divine authority became synonymous with sin and evil. Lucifer's fall from heaven and his subsequent association with Satan made him the embodiment of all things opposed to God. Yet, this shift also serves to highlight the tension between divine control and the human pursuit of knowledge and enlightenment. Lucifer's story resonates because it mirrors a universal human theme: the desire to question authority and seek knowledge, even at great cost. His rebellion is not just about pride. It's about challenging the status quo and breaking free from divine control. In this sense, Lucifer's story is not just about evil, but about the human spirit's yearning for independence and understanding. In modern interpretations, Lucifer is often re-examined, particularly by those exploring alternative perspectives on religious stories. The Lightbringer, once a symbol of wisdom, may still hold valuable lessons about the pursuit of knowledge and the consequences of challenging established power. Is Lucifer truly a villain, or is he a misunderstood figure representing humanity's eternal quest for enlightenment? Closing thoughts: rebellion, knowledge, and control. As we wrap up this exploration into the figure of Satan, Iblis, and Lucifer, one thing becomes clear. These characters are not merely embodiments of pure evil, but rather complex symbols of rebellion, knowledge, and the human struggle with authority. The narratives surrounding these figures reflect deeper philosophical questions about obedience, free will, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Are these beings truly villains, or do they represent the consequences of questioning and challenging the divine order? Throughout history, we have seen a pattern. Figures who defy the established authority are often demonized and cast out. Whether it's a fallen angel like Lucifer, a defiant deity like Prometheus, or a rebellious figure like Iblis, these characters all share a common trait: they challenge the status quo. This challenge is not always driven by evil intentions. Rather, it's often a reflection of their desire for something greater, be it knowledge, progress, or justice. The idea that Satan, or Lucifer, represents an abstract force of rebellion against divine authority has been used throughout history to discourage people from questioning the systems of power that govern them. In some ways, the demonization of these figures can be seen as a tool used by religious institutions to maintain control over their followers. By portraying defiance as a sin, religious authorities discourage free thought and encourage submission to the divine will. But when we look closely at the stories of these rebellious figures, we can see that they are not merely about evil. They are about the consequences of seeking knowledge and the price of enlightenment. The fire that Prometheus stole from the gods was not just literal fire, but the symbol of knowledge and progress, just as Lucifer's light is not merely a sign of pride, but of the quest for understanding. These stories resonate with us because they reflect our own struggles with authority, freedom, and the pursuit of truth. So, as we reflect on these ancient tales, the question remains: is Satan truly our enemy, or is he a symbol of humanity's eternal struggle with knowledge and control? Is rebellion always a sin, or is it sometimes necessary for progress? These are questions that continue to challenge us today as we navigate the delicate balance between obedience and the pursuit of enlightenment. Join me in the next video as we dive even deeper into these mysteries and explore the hidden layers of these ancient stories.